Alright, what's up guys? We are getting closer and closer to the beginning of some very interesting E3 reveals. But there's one game that will be in its third consecutive E3 presentation that I still believe has a lot to show off that we haven't seen yet. Of course, this game is Insomniac's Spider-Man. So let's take a look at where we have been and what new things we may learn during E3 this year. Alright, to begin with, let's take a look back at the year 2016 and to where the foundation for this Spider-Man game began to form. After the E3 reveal, the vision Marvel had for its new game division was on display in full force and directly tied to the E3 reveal for Insomniac's Spider-Man. To quote the head of Marvel's game division, Jay Ong, on its new direction, he said, "Along with the senior execs at Marvel and my team within the games business, we devised a brand new strategy to be very selective and only partner with the best game companies on Earth. We wanted to work very selectively with companies that shared our vision, our ambition, and really usher in a brand new era for the Marvel games business." This selective direction led to Marvel partnering with Sony and Insomniac, the developers of Spyro the Dragon, Ratchet & Clank, the Resistance series, and Sunset Overdrive, to make a Spider-Man game worthy of its namesake. I can remember personally watching this reveal during Sony's E3 press conference in 2016 and being genuinely excited that Sony and Insomniac were handling this game's development. And this was on top of the fact that we had an E3 presentation filled with jaw-dropping reveals like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, and Death Stranding. It was nostalgic for me to think that I might be able to experience my favorite superhero from my childhood in a whole new way. And not to mention, it was going to be a Sony-exclusive franchise. This is just amazing stuff. Alright, if E3 2016 was just a taste of what was to come, we were given a decent-sized meal at E3 2017 concerning this new direction for Marvel Game Studios. This year, Sony and Marvel decided to give its fans an extended look at what the gameplay would involve in Spider-Man. In the trailer, we were shown just how seamless the gameplay really was, from transitioning into and out of cutscenes, to the Batman Arkham series-esque fighting system, to interactive environments you can use against your enemies. In this trailer, we were also given a tangible villain to face off against Spider-Man in the form of Mr. Negative, trying to take over Wilson Fisk's territory, also known as the Kingpin. In later trailers, we're also given glimpses of Norman Osborn and the Shocker. The trailer also gave us a glimpse of the set pieces that were going to be at play in this new adventure. The culmination of the trailer included a thrilling mission where Spider-Man chases a helicopter through downtown New York. The chase begins with Spider-Man making sure a crane does not fall in the streets below by webbing each of its pieces to various buildings. Insomniac puts their talent on full display here, with action-packed, moment-to-moment web-slinging around the city, climbing on the underside of a helicopter, dodging rockets, and even keeping a destroyed helicopter from injuring people below in the streets by webbing it between two skyscrapers in first-person perspective. I mean, this was some masterful action here. I felt like a kid again. Then at the end of the trailer, we get a quick shot of Miles Morales to give us a tease of the possibility of multiple Spider-Men appearing in this game. Overall, this reveal was an awesome moment for me. When I was growing up, I tried to get my hands on anything that had to do with Spider-Man, whether that be a video game, a comic book, cartoons, or action figures. It is awesome to see the evolution of this character in video games, especially considering his Super Nintendo days, Neversoft's Spider-Man game, and Treyarch's open world entries in the series. This character has came a long way in the video game world, and I have been highly impressed with the work this team has done. Alright, so now that we've looked at where we've been, let's look where we're headed with this year's E3 presentation from Sony. They've already said that Spider-Man will be one of the big four games going into their presentation this year, along with Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us Part 2. With everything that has been shown so far about this Spider-Man game, including the footage outside of E3, you would think that there wouldn't be much else to reveal. But in my opinion, I think that we will get some sort of major reveal about this Spider-Man game at E3 this year. I believe that there is much more to the world of this Spider-Man game than Marvel, Sony, or Insomniac really wants to let on. In my opinion, And from the limited nature of past trailers, we have been shown a very narrow view of the breadth of the narrative here. I think this game, to parallel the Marvel Cinematic Universe, will be laying a foundation for future releases under this new direction for Marvel's game studios, especially considering that we have multiple villains and multiple Spider-Man involved. I think it is also interesting that Square Enix is having its own press conference this year, as they have been working on an unnamed Avengers title that, I believe, will be debuted at E3 this year. But who knows? These games could be connected in some major way. Also, it is certainly prime time to start building up the hype for this game, as it is only 3 months away from release on September 7th. It would make sense that Insomniac and Sony are keeping something close to the chest concerning this game for E3. Plus, we have not actually seen the map of its version of New York City yet. And while it has been confirmed it is an open world game, we have only gotten vague details about that, with Insomniac saying it is several times bigger than the world in Sunset Overdrive. So I think it's safe to say that we will see some footage that really shows off the open world setting in this game, including collectibles, side missions, and other features that have become staples of the genre. Lastly, I believe that there will be some sort of multiplayer mode debuted at E3 this year. With the focus of modern games relying so heavily on multiplayer, it only makes sense that there would be some sort of multiplayer feature in this game. I think we will definitely see some time trials and leaderboards for side missions around New York City and other places we may happen to visit. While there is less a chance for a cooperative or competitive multiplayer mode, I think it is in the realm of possibility, as we have already been introduced to 2 different Spider-Men who could work together in the game. So here's hoping. Okay guys, I think that about covers everything I wanted to discuss in today's video. Spider-Man is going to make quite an impression at E3 this year, and I will be bringing you all the news that I can. Again, I want to thank you for all of your support in putting together content for His White Lights Versus. For those of you who do not know, I am a teacher, and I run this channel as part of an unofficial gamers club at my school. My students also appreciate your support for what we do. If you enjoyed what you saw, like and subscribe this channel, and let me know in the comments what you think will be revealed at this year's E3. Alright, until next time guys.